Friends, Romans, and Patriots, let me your ears and strap on your tinfoil hats because it's time for the Gay Frog Chat. My name's E. Honda, and this is the Gay Frog Chat, where we talk about Gay Frog Chat things in the world going on. Like today, for instance, did you guys see the pictures of the surge of people at the Mexican border and the camps that they're building? They had to bring in bulldozers to knock down brush and foliage in order to build temporary structures to house the thousands of... It looks like... Oh, my God. The picture's the thumbnail. It looks like 10,000 people under a bridge is what it looks like to me. But anyway, crazy shit going on. I hope y'all are doing well out there and in the chat as well. We're joined by a Duke Liberty. How do you do, Mr. Duke?
Hey, what's happening, baby? Just chilling.
Same old stuff, new day.
That's right.
And a Platypus, how you doing, Mr. Angry?
Yo.
So yeah, what is the freaking future outlook of this country if we continue to print money like it's candy, continue having open borders policies in which we just fucking pay people and give them a place to live and healthcare and everything else they need? Oh, they brought kids with them. Well, we'll pay for their education too while they're here. And, you know, that's for like 18 years or whatever. By the time you're done with college, you know, it's fucking tons of school.
Well, I mean, eventually you put enough strain on anything, it's going to snap. Like, everything has a breaking point eventually, and you keep making shitty policies and doing stupid shit, eventually the system's just going to collapse.
Well, the funny thing is, like, this is a lesson that we have learned historically. It's a social experiment that's been run and run and run again. And the conclusion that the experiment comes to is genocide and fucking destitution and starvation. Like, look at the most recent example, Venezuela. Like, you can watch videos of people mauling a fucking cow to death with stones and ripping its legs off so that they can go home and feed their family. It's fucking sick, dude. It's disgusting. And, like, that's... People were like, oh, well, that'll never happen here because this is America. Because we've got normalcy bias, and we're part of that generation that never had to do anything and had everything handed to them, and that's just the way it's always going to be. We don't even have to try. We just win. America.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds great. But at the end of the day, wait till the shelves at the store are no longer full. And wait till your dollar doesn't mean anything. And wait till there aren't plentiful jobs that everybody can just walk in and grab. That's the part that scares me about the future.
And here's the thing. I hope that it never gets to that point. But at the same time, I prepare and I make myself as ready as possible for if it does get to that point. I don't just sit there and go, oh, everything will be fine. We don't got to worry. Everything's going to be okay.
We've been through this before.
Yeah.
I don't see it. I mean, we've been untouchable for so long. We can't be on top forever. And making irresponsible decisions based upon like a fake reality, like an ultra reality, where everybody can just come on in, we'll just keep printing money, is irresponsible. It's like a person that just keeps using their credit card without, making payments correctly or stopping and thinking about that. And I think we've been doing that for 50 years. And that's going to catch up to us.
It's funny how the federal government has a whole credit rating system for us based upon our financial spending and how much we make and all that stuff. And yet, how many trillion of dollars do they owe? I don't know. That's just ironic. There's nothing really there besides irony.
Well, and to your point with this problem at the borders, do you know what the hottest news is right now? It's not the border stuff. It's that white hippie chick that went missing with her boyfriend.
Oh, yeah.
That's what everybody's talking about. That's what's on the headlines. That's what everybody's on bated breath about. I mean, let's not talk about the thousands of minorities and other people that never get any screen time. I'm gonna get on a soapbox here. But when a white chick goes missing, everybody's got to freak out. Oh, and she's pretty, so that's even extra points. Don't worry
Well, I
about
mean-
anybody else.
It was
But
funny
now-
that when I saw that story, the first thing I thought was, well, the boyfriend did it.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, come
that's
on.
what everyone thought. Everyone knows at this point the boyfriend did it. Everyone knows she's dead. That they're just looking for a body at this point, and also
They
everyone
found the
knows.
body.
Oh, they did.
Yeah.
Okay, well, shows how much I've been following the story. And everyone also knows that within 6 to 12 months, it'll be a Netflix series or a special or something.
Oh yeah.
That's the point.
So she was a YouTuber, I guess. Was that the deal? What did she do? Like fucking makeup videos or some bullshit?
Her and
I
her
know she's
boyfriend
like
was doing
22 or something. They were doing like like my understanding was they were doing like a cross country,
in a van thing.
like trip or something like that in a van. I guess she was like either streaming it on Instagram or some shit like that.
Hmm.
And they had been fiancés, and then they called it off. And after they called it off, she decided it would be a good idea to go cross country with this person. So it's like,
Yeah,
maybe
and
not
there's
the
some-
wisest decision.
It's horrible. I'm not gonna say it's not horrible.
Yeah,
but,
oh no,
I mean,
it is. Like,
But you know, there's thousands of people missing. This is the one that gets the story. And in my opinion, what is it? You always got to look. What are they covering up? What else is going on? But this is what everybody's talking about. Fox News, CNN, everybody's on bated breath about the FBI. You know, but no, there's thousands and thousands of people just flooding into the country.
that's the thing. Like thousands of people, like tens of thousands, probably go missing every single day, just like this. But yeah, to your point, it's not like some popular, white college girl that's pretty looking. So.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
I don't
a
know.
shitty situation.
it's a
don't get me
shitty
wrong.
situation, and that's the thing is like when something like that happens, it does grab people's attention. You say, so like for instance, like the other day, I was just flipping through the YouTube channels, and I saw some like Senate hearing or something where there was like this hot chick talking, and I was like, whoa, what is this? And it was like the skater girls who got abused by the skater coach for USA or whatever. And it's
Yeah.
like, again, like, okay, like that's bad, that's terrible, we should punish the guy. But does there need to be congressional hearings about this? Is it that or is that a distraction from something else?
I think with that part of it was like there's some FBI corruption because I think the FBI looked into it and was like, oh no, we can't find anything. And they're like, how the fuck could you not find anything?
I always thought like the Olympic gymnastic thing was a bit pedophilic anyway. You know, like you got these like 14, 15-year-old girls wearing like skin tight spandex doing the splits in front of 100 people. It's like, yeah, there's going to be some pedophiles watching there, you know?
And
Maybe a few of the people involved with it might be too. I don't know.
And some creepy dude is like, it's my passion. It's my passion to train these girls.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Like
yo,
if you
dude,
have a
you
male
creeper.
coach for like female gymnasts and he's clearly not gay, like, there's something fishy there.
Like I expect it to be like a Russian lady with like a hairy mole, and she's like, "You will jump now!" Like
Yeah, you
that's
got the
it.
giant unibrow.
Yeah, like that's it. Like she's the coach. If it ain't her, like you suspect. And if to Corey Long, I'm here all night, baby. Don't worry, I ain't going nowhere. Okay, homie.
Dedicated.
I wasn't going to bring up that chat, but I'm glad you did.
I got it. I got you, Corey, baby. I'm here. Okay, I'm all spiced up. I had SCADIOs. You might want to watch out.
You know what we need is a little Mark Malone action. We haven't talked to Mark Malone for a while. Would you be willing to come in and chat with us, Mr. Malone?
Come on, Marky. Come on, Mark. I see
Come on,
you in
Mark.
the chat.
Mark
He's
Wahlberg.
It's not Marky. It's not Marky Mark.
Mark Malone. Is that like Carl Malone?
Carl Malone.
Carl Malone says.
I don't even know. How far down are you? Jesus. It's been so long. Okay, there we go. Malone, I sent you a link. If you want to show up, it's fine. If not, that's fine too.
You don't have to feel obligated because Honda's asking.
Oh, he says he can't tonight.
Oh,
All right, it's fine.
Yo, Corey Long. Got you, baby.
So yeah, I mean, oh, did you hear about what YouTube's planning on doing now?
Oh, yeah, they're going hunting.
Oh, what is YouTube? I, again, haven't paid attention to anything since Friday night.
So they're coming after YouTube channels that show any kind of hunting or certain types of sports shooting or certain things with guns that flag their algorithm, they don't kick you off of the platform, but they take away your monetization, and they do it without warning. And once they do it, you have 30 days to go through your channel and edit every single one of your videos that you want to keep up down to the point where it meets their criteria. And at the end of that 30-day period, you reapply for monetization, and they go through all your videos and look again. And if they find anything, they deny you, and you lose monetization forever.
I wish I could sit there and say I'm surprised by it, but at this point I'm not. Like, I kind of just expect that shit from them.
Well, it's just funny how they claim to be a freedom of speech platform in which you can be on the tube and everyone can have their own platform and their own voice, and you can say whatever you want so long as it's not like this increasingly large list of things that you cannot talk about that goes retroactively back to the beginning of time of every video that you've ever uploaded on YouTube.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a bit worrisome. It's got me thinking about me and Matt and people like that who, like, I don't have that many shooting videos, but I got a couple. Like, I could go take them down, I guess, or whatever, you know. But even like where I'm like, hey, check out this double barrel shotgun video or something like that, you know. Or is that going to be fucking against the rules now? What about people like fucking Forgotten Weapons, who that's all they do is just show guns and shoot guns, and they're old guns and new guns and whatever guns, but it's guns. Well, guess what? Demonetized. Now you have to make all of your money by selling merch, and they won't fucking promote your channel at all, and you won't get any new viewership that isn't directly linked to someone from someone else. Like, they won't help you out at all. But if you're out there like showing pedophilic videos of like children in leotards dancing around or something, it's fucking A-OK. The Taliban probably has a fucking channel.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
YouTube is asshole. YouTube asshole.
This is
Speaking-
it's endgame.
Speaking of the Taliban, I guess if you can dodge a missile, you can dodge a ball.
I don't know why I'm laughing like that.
Neither do I.
It seemed kind of condescending when I think about it.
It's okay. I expect it.
CC Dreams has it. The best way to make money on YouTube is to have an extremely progressive far-left propaganda channel. Those discussing the truth or constitutional rights are guaranteed demonetization. Not yet. I think we're headed towards guaranteed demonetization, but we're guaranteed shadow ban. Like, think about how long I've been doing these chats and things like that, and like the kind of like leg up that I've gotten to even get this far. You know what I mean? Like, they don't promote anybody who's not like some crazy fucking leftist touting bullshit these days. And it seems like those people are the lowest information people that there are out there, because they do the straw manning of arguments. You know, they take the other side's argument, the weakest version of it, and then pull it apart and say how dumb the other side is. And all the fucking lemmings that follow them just fucking watch that shit and think, oh, we're so much smarter, blah, blah, blah. But then when you actually have a conversation with them and you bring up points, it's like they don't even know what to say because they've never heard this shit before, right? It's like fucking points of view and ideas that have never even been explored on channels that they watch because they're too risky. And yet we do it as a matter of course here. And that's why we only have 2,000 fucking subscribers. But I do appreciate you guys out there, by the way.
And they're bad at playing the game of life, and they think that life is against them, and that they should there's some injustice there, just because they don't understand that maybe being a bubble specialist probably wasn't going to give you a bunch of money in your life. So complaining that you got a bubble specialist degree, and then blaming everyone like, oh, it's just the man keeping me down. Like, no, there's just not a need for bubble specialists. So when you got that degree, that wasn't going to bring you money, and now you're sad because you suck at life. You should try harder, and I don't like that. I don't care. Like, I just don't give a fuck about it no more. Just move on.
the thing is, they're like, yeah, down with the man. He's trying to keep me down, blah, blah, blah. Let me support the establishment in every way that I can, though.
Yeah.
It's fucking stupid, dude. It's
Yeah.
like backwards and stupid. And like, it's cognitive dissonance at its finest, because if they can't hold two thoughts in their head at the same time, like, for instance, we'll go into the like voting rights thing where they're like, all these voting things that Texas is doing is racist because we have this soft bigotry of low expectations in which we expect that black people can't get their shit together enough to have an ID to show up and vote with an ID, so therefore it's racist for you to require that. While at the same time, the lowest vaccinated group in this country is who? African Americans. And then what are we doing? Requiring vaccine cards and documentation for all kinds of shit. And they're like, that's good. And that's not racist at all. It's like cognitive dissonance. I don't see how you cannot see that. What are you guys doing? You need batteries? Hold on, I'll be right back.
Yeah, so like at Sissy Dreams is over here saying the supply chain disruption is coming. My brother-in-law is a top sales guy at a small dealership. They have 0 new cars. Never seen anything like it. Nothing to sell. Layoffs coming. Yeah. See, I think that's a big thing in my area. Like, that's huge, the auto industry. I drive to work and I look on the side of the highway. There are thousands of brand new trucks in this huge lot, and they're just sitting there and they can't sell them because they have no chips or something. You know, the chip thing.
Yeah.
And this is going on everywhere. And I don't think we've even felt the ripple yet, because if nobody can sell anything, nobody can buy anything. That means that that's going to be bad.
Well, when it comes in, like, I have a couple guys out here that work in different dealerships, and they're kind of in the same boat. Like, they have a lot of cars sitting on lots that are just waiting for chips and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And when they do get a vehicle in, like, it disappears, and right now they're able to sell it for more than that car's MSRP is, because people are so desperate. So it's like something pops in, they're just like gone. So for them,
yeah,
it's great because it's like a guaranteed sale as soon as something hits the showroom floor. But at the same time, like, if they don't start getting those chips in, like, it's going to impact them. And what is it? I heard, like, I mean, we know Chicago shipping centers are a month behind. I think the West Coast is something similar to that.
Yeah, it's just, I think there's going to be a tidal wave. I mean, I had to do some front end work on my Jeep and something else just recently. And I asked the guy, I trust the mechanic guy. I'm just not a car guy. So I asked him, I said, what's better? Do I just dump this and take it to a dealership and say, give me what you'll give me and I'll buy something new? Or do I fix it? And he's like, dude, just fix it. Just fix it right now, because it's a rough market out there right now. If you go buy a new car, they're just going to take you to the bank, and you're not. Just fix this, fix what you got now. It's going to be good to go. Just get the front end stuff done, and that's what I did. I think that's what we got to look at right now. But man, this is I
just had a buddy of mine that he canceled. Like, he had over the summer, him and his girlfriend, who's another friend of mine, they both decided that, their leases were up on their current vehicles. He leased a truck, she leased a SUV, and they're like, you know what? Our leases are up. We're gonna buy vehicles. So they both put in an order for like something to be made, and this was back, I want to say like June. She just got hers or it was either the end of August, beginning of September. Like, that's how long it took for them to like put her vehicle, and she didn't even option that far out. Like, it was pretty basic. I think the most expensive option was like the color. She just got hers. He was supposed to get his the middle of next month, in the middle of October, and he just canceled his order because he's like, it's taken so long and they keep pushing it back. He's like, I canceled it and I just grabbed something off the lot. See,
that's the kicker right there.
Kyle Russ says, why don't they just build cars simpler and make them like they did in the early 90s, limited electronics, easy to work on?
Because that's not what people want.
No. That's not at all the reason why, I think, anyway. I think the reason why is government regulation coming in and saying, well, it's got to have this on it and it's got to have that on it. And by the time that all the government regulations come through, you got to build a fucking $20,000 base model fucking anything.
That was the second part of my statement. It's twofold. It's one is government regulations, because all vehicles now have to have like backup cameras. Like there's certain safety shit that all vehicles have to have now because of government regulations. But the second aspect of it is the majority of people, like not people listening to this chat, but the majority of just fucking white collar fucking live in the suburb or even the city, they want the hottest and greatest with their new cars. Like everyone's always trying to outdo the Joneses. That's why your base model cars, even your econo box cars, their base models aren't selling like crazy.
Right, but they could do the same thing with houses, right? I think that there's a great demand and need for a cheap, like, livable house. Something that's bare minimum, that doesn't have, like, all the fucking crazy amenities and shit like that. But they've made it so, like, in order to build a house, you have to have this permit and this approval and this inspection and this kind of thing and that kind of thing. And to some extent, I understand, right? Because you don't want a bunch of people, like, building shit fucking houses with electrical fire hazards and stuff like that. But at the same time, like, you would think that you could just come up with something that's like, here's a simple way to do it that doesn't cause fires, that doesn't cost a lot of money. But no, they won't do that because then it fucking cuts a bunch of middlemen out of their fucking jobs, and that's all this fucking country is anymore, is just red tape and middlemen.
Yeah. The third straw when it comes to vehicles is also the auto manufacturers, because the auto manufacturers realized long ago that if you make shit complex that people can't... Back in the day, like when my dad was growing up in the 60s and 70s, right? Everyone worked on their own vehicle. Like, if you had something wrong, you'd go down to the parts store, you'd get something small, you'd put it on your vehicle, like, no problem. But now auto manufacturers realize that with the hustle and bustle of modern living, a lot of people don't have time for that, so they can make shit more complex, and now you have to bring it into the dealership. You now have to spend money, even if it's under warranty. Like, those warranties don't cover everything, so now you have to spend money, which goes to the auto manufacturer. They just keep making money and money and money on simple shit that people used to be able to do in their driveways.
Corey Long says, something big is coming. I'm not sure what or when. And again, I keep going back to the Titanic analogy, and I think we're at the point officially where guests aboard the Titanic know there's a problem. And some of them are starting to gather their belongings. Some of them already have their belongings, and they're starting to line up in front of the fucking the boats, you know,
Lifeboats.
Lifeboats. Thank you. Like,
And others
honestly,
are
I
walking
think that's
around-
where we're at.
And others are walking around saying, oh, no, we're fine. This is nothing to worry about.
Right. Yeah, we've hit icebergs before, you know, just back that one, you know, the ship always keeps sailing, though.
Yep.
Fucking boomers, dude.
I would agree with you. And I would agree that because of that attitude, things are going on normally because many people have that attitude. If more people thought like we did and planned like we did, I don't know if people saw reality for what it was, I don't think we would be in such a nice place. But it's because people are still blinded that we are living in these comforts.
That's the thing. Like, it's almost like a double-edged sword. Like, it's like you want people to wake up, but at the same time, if everyone wakes up, shit is gonna go south quick.
Well, and I think that's what they're gearing up for, right? They're filling this country up with people who don't ideologically align with one another. That way, when the shit starts going off, everyone's fighting each other instead of banding together and going after the ones who were really responsible for the fucking mess that we're in. Because think about it, you're not gonna be able to make it to DC if there's fucking pandemonium going on to fucking hold some fucking politician accountable for the decisions that he's made that led us to this point. No. And even if you could, it's not gonna fix the situation. You know, people are gonna be way too discordant, way too fucking against each other. We've been racialized. We've been fucking hyper fucking like polarized against one another in this country today in a way that I have not seen in my entire life. And I'm the oldest one here. Motherfuckers, fuck you. I'm old. I'm almost 40.
I mean, I'm not disagreeing with that. You are older than shit. You're almost a boomer. Almost.
I just think that
I'm technically a millennial.
I know. So I mean, technically, I think we all are, but
it's scary. I think I am concerned about the life that my son will live. I think that my dad had it better than my grandpa. I know I had it better than my dad, and I don't think my son is going to have it better than me. and that's what
Yeah.
I'm worried about. And I think that we've had that for a long time, and that's where I think we're heading. I think if you are not preparing for the end game right now, you're behind. You're big time behind.
And I'm not saying, like, I know we all talk about preparing and shit like that, and I'm not saying you can't have any pleasures or luxuries in life, but prepare as much as you can. Like, I don't know. And I'm agreeing with you as well with the whole cycle of, having it better than the previous generation thing. And we know from history that it's a cycle, right? You have so many generations that get better, 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 and then there's a crash. And then as long as they make it through that crash, it gets better, 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 crash.
Then
it's just like,
I don't know. It's got me thinking about the Thomas Paine quote. I prefer peace, but if trouble must come, let it come in my time, so that my children can live in peace. And the baby boomer thing that I keep going back to, their answer was always more, 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 now, 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 mine, 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 gimme, gimme, gimme. I don't care who gets fucked over. I don't care what kind of debt this causes. I don't care who we bomb. I don't care how long that war lasts. As long as my pension still is there. As long as my house continues to be more expensive than it was last year. As long as my fucking, job continues to pay me money for doing bullshit ass work that I don't deserve the money for, And I'm not saying that's true of all of them. And
No.
I'm sure that there's a fair amount of baby boomers who've been smashing their head against concrete walls known as their peers for their entire life over this shit, right? But
I get it.
There's a lot of them out there who were completely complicit, who benefited the entire time, and who were standing there in the pot of water as the frog, that little neuron in the brain saying, no, don't jump, it's fine in here.
And I get it to a point, because that was the generation after, what a lot of people saw as was going to be the end of the world, right? But at the same time, so I get that initial, hey, let's be greedy. We made it through, let's be greedy and let's do this shit. But as you start to see stuff tilt in the wrong direction, that's when you have to sit there and go, oh, it's time to correct, instead of let me see if I can ride this. Let's see how long I can ride this train for.
There's a volcano erupting. Oh, keep going, sorry.
I was just going to say, I think that's where the issue is with a lot of them.
La Palma. La Palma. We need video. We need to screen share.
La Palma?
La Palma. La Palma. Verbo. We're advertising.
Is this a populated area where this volcano is, or?
I don't know.
I mean, volcanoes erupt all the time, as long as it's...
You just said it was crazy.
That looks fun.
Luke B says, my father is a boomer and has always said his generation is ruining this country, one since the 90s.
I think the one was a mistake.
Yeah, the one was a mistake. You might want to look at the one about, these are the times that try men's souls, and Sunshine Patriots says, Plain Nut? 767. Sorry. I was trying to say it was Pleen Nut. I don't know what a pleen is. It's sad to think about our parents sold us out. I think a lot of them were duped into it, honestly.
Yeah.
Because there's, on the Titanic, there's some guy shoveling coal in the fucking bottom of the ship into the fucking furnace, keeping the whole thing going. And he heard a crunch and a crash and asked what happened, and someone said, don't worry about it, keep shoveling coal.
Yeah, everything's fine. He's like, okay.
So it's not everybody's fault, I wouldn't say. But
No,
but there was a captain, and there was a first mate, first officer, and there was a bridge crew and a guy at the helm, and there was the guy at the fucking front of the ship calling out things, and all of those people knew what was going on, and all of them were boomers.
Yep.
Are you old enough to remember how the greatest generation complained about the boomers being lazy, entitled hippies, yippies, and never earned anything. Kind of seems like millennials now. I mean, the generation that we're part of doesn't seem to be much better, I guess. And I guess if I have to pull the analogy forward, I'm the guy in the previous generation beating his head against a concrete wall that is my peers, you know?
Yeah, I agree. I think what happened is the boomer generation kind of started it, and it's just been passed down generation after generation, like through millennials, through now, what are we in, Gen Z? I guess technically Gen X or whatever was between boomers and millennials, so Matt's included. But
oh wow, look at that, dude. This is the live feed right now.
that's cool.
Holy cow!
Looks
As
like
long as it's not a populated space, which, I mean, as I said, like, volcanoes erupt all the time, but that's just cool looking.
the Earth's having diarrhea right now.
Had Taco Bell.
Yeah, it had some spicy food last night.
Had some Schlotzskys and
Yeah.
some guy drove up the mountain, chucked a bag of Schlotzskys in, and this is what happened.
He took some Zupu, is what happened. Said 5 to 20 pounds, hold my beer.
Do you know the planet has 5 to 20 pounds of toxic poop?
Not to be G-Webs, but keep in mind, my generation, 17 to 25, is not going to fall for another Vietnam. Oh, it just scrolled up. Most of the people in my college are either pro-freedom or communist. There is no middle, which means Vietnam will not be the issue that you're dealing with. It will be what happened in the 1860s. I forget.
Civil War.
The Civil War?
And it's going to be, I think, honestly, Texas is going to secede, and they're going to bring a bunch of fucking states with them, and then people are going to, like, get the fuck out of Texas who don't like it, and then people are going to move to Texas who are like, yeah, I'm tired of this shit over here, and we're going to have a whole mass exodus and fucking, you know, entrance of people or whatever, immigration, and we're going to have a new country. Whether or not that happens peacefully, I highly doubt at this point, to be honest.
The only thing with Texas succeeding, and I think the thing that's holding that up, is at the end of the day, it would still require politicians, and no matter what side of the fence you're on, politicians are lazy.
Well, they're
It's
also
a lot of work to
cowards.
succeed.
They're fucking
But
goddamn
that's
cowardly because they care more about getting reelected in their public image than making it the choice that they're there to fucking make, which is often a difficult choice, which is often, even if it's the correct choice, an unpopular one, which people need to fucking understand that being a leader doesn't mean doing what's popular. Honestly, it doesn't. And that's what our, quote, leaders fucking do in this country, which makes them anything but. Destroyers and usurpers. That's what they are. Curse them. I'm on no one's side because no one's on my side. Citizens' arrest of a lot of government and General Assembly will probably be a thing in all of this. I can't read. I don't know, man. I think at this point, if like there was a group of people who were like, we know that, let's say Biden and Kamala Harris did X, Y, and Z, that's illegal and against the law and against the Constitution and against our rights. Therefore, we're going to go to fucking DC and put them under citizen's arrest. You think you're going to make it there?
No.
You think you're going to be successful at all? You think you're going to be labeled something by the media and be placed in jail for indefinite amount of time, maybe even Guantanamo, because they can put you there and like laws don't really matter. That's no man's land.
Yeah, that would instantly happen.
Do you think the government would allow Texas to secede? I mean, I'm all for it. I think that if Texas were to do that, they would have to do it forcefully because the government wouldn't just let them.
That's the catalyst, right? That's the catalyst for the event for the your scenario Civil War, and I would agree. It's going to be when somebody says they've had enough and they're going to say, I'm done. And they're going to have a problem with that. And you're going to have federal troops involved. You're going to have National Guard involved. And you're going to have a bunch of citizens involved. It's, it could be...
It's going to be very messy.
This could be spicy.
Guns and Whiskey says it wasn't about slavery. And I bet in the history books that are going to be written about this time period from the victors, who I assume will not be us, let's be honest, who holds the fucking power and the hegemony of the state right now, is going to say, if this scenario goes forward and Texas secedes and there's some sort of civil war, that it wasn't fought for states' rights or individual rights or anti-fucking globalist agenda fucking bullshit that we're going through. It will be because the South was racist and they were stopping racism. And that's what the war was really about.
That would be the headlines.
Yep. Here we are. And I was watching Timcast yesterday, and I forget the dude's name. He's got a big-ass beard. He's bald. He's a cool guy. I like him. He's got a 15-year-old and a 14-year-old, right? Both in high school, and he's talking about how the state of Maryland, where he lives, if you are in collegiate sports, high school sports, and you want to play varsity football or baseball or whatever, guess what you have to get?
A poke of some sort?
Yeah, they have to poke at you a little bit, once or twice, maybe 3 times, maybe once every 8 months for the rest of your life. Oh wait. Yep. And him fighting against it, like they've got him between a rock and a hard place, because it's like, I can stand up for my ideological view and my political stance about what is actually right about what's going on here and where the government has rights to mandate things to me and my family and where they don't. But if I do, that means I got to pull my son out of baseball.
Yep.
And baseball is the thing that teaches him camaraderie and hard work and dedication and like teamwork and good sportsmanship and leadership and all kinds of life skills that have nothing to do with baseball. That's really not what baseball is about when you're a kid. And why I think professional sports in general are a fucking joke. It's just another distraction, another carrot to hold in front of the mule so it keeps on the fucking track, right? Both as a distraction for the people who watch it, but also for the kids coming up who have a shot at a dream to get out of the hood, rather than actually concentrating on education and bettering themselves. They just learn how to run faster, and guess how many of them don't make it? Most of them. So where do they end up? Still in the ghetto because they didn't have a plan B.
It does teach those things. I mean, teamwork and camaraderie and things like that. But you know what else does? X-Men, the animated series.
I mean, if it's my choice to quit baseball because I would rather watch X-Men, that's libertarianism. If it's the government mandating a vaccine and I don't want to take it because, so I have to quit baseball. That's
bullshit.
That's fascism. That's not bullshit. Yeah. That's fascism.
I figure fascism is a form of bullshit, but the thing is, and we've said in a million of these chats, I feel that's going to be the way that it's going across the board. Only time will tell. That's why I got asked the other day, are you going to be getting the vaccine now that the mandate came out? I go, no, I'm not getting the shot. My work hasn't, knock on wood, has not asked me yet, and I don't plan on telling them. They haven't mandated anything yet, and if it comes to that point, well, they can fire me. I'm not quitting. They can fire me, and we'll take it from there.
Well, the fundamental principles that our entire country, our society was founded upon are freedom and individual choice. And Benjamin Franklin said, those who would trade their liberty for security deserve neither and will end up without both. Or something like that. I always mess that one up.
I know what you're talking
true.
about.
It's fucking true. Because if you trade your liberty for security, you're going to lose both. No, you're going to lose both and deserve neither, is what the quote is. F&G Starman dropped in a couple of bucks and said, just the tip. Good evening, all. E Honda for president. I mean, I'm old enough now.
E-Honda will never get it to president. No,
I don't have the delusions of grandeur that I would win.
Maybe a governor. You might be able to make a governor.
Dude, I doubt I could even win a seat on a city council member because they'd be like, "Who the fuck is this guy?"
The first time someone came up that said something stupid, you'd be like, "Shut up, you fucking fog breather." You'd be like, don't think we can have him on the school board anymore.
Yeah. Do you get paid anything for being on a school board?
I don't know. Let me Google this.
Or do they just like that's your entry into politics? You got to do 6 years on a school board to have it on your resume?
Yeah,
See, it's like city councils and all these other ones back in the day. Used to be something you did voluntarily. You know, the guy who ran the food store was back there.
So apparently, for school board members, I guess it depends on where you are, but you do get paid something. It doesn't look like it's that much money, but I think again, what it buys you is more influence, stuff like that, where you can get business dealings and your name out there in politics type shit. That's why you usually see people on school boards have their own companies and shit, because it's that back end support, you know?
Yep.
Sissy Dreams says, just use Brewster's Millions campaign strategy. Vote for none of the above. I think a great campaign, like a national campaign strategy that we as Second Amendment, First Amendment, constitutionalist, libertarian-minded people should all be able to get behind. I think regardless of your fucking minutia or things that you might disagree with this person or that person about, is re-elect no one. Because anyone's better than who we fucking have, or at least they couldn't be worse, I don't think, right? I mean, maybe we've got a Hitler waiting somewhere in the fucking on the sidebar somewhere, Mark Malone. But I don't know. I was thinking about this too, right? Hitler was only Hitler because he had the power to be Hitler, if that makes sense. If Hitler was never given power, he would have just been a shitty painter who was pissed off. How many people in this world, if given the power, would be Hitler? And my answer is probably 1 million, maybe more. There's a lot of motherfuckers out there. It's a good thing they don't have power. And here's another thought that I was having. Why is communism, socialism, whatever it is that we're sliding into, but not just here, in other countries and historically, why is it always a feminist kind of movement? Anyone notice that?
Yeah,
It's kind of it's like state-run fucking crazy feminism is what it is.
I think it was just luck of the draw that some feminists got behind it. And
well, no, think about it this way, right? Tribal society. Men went out and hunted, and if you were a good hunter, you were highly valued and you would bring home meat, and if you had extra, you would share it. The women were at home preparing food and doing this, and they would make sure that everyone had enough. Women are everyone has enough. Men are increase your skill, get better personally, right? That's how we're built. That's how we're wired. And in a small tribal society, the way that we spent literally hundreds of thousands of years, if not 1 million years or more, developing our, the way that our brains work and the way that we are, without that structure in modern society, things fall apart in a way that tends toward the feminist, does everyone have enough kind of mind frame because they take over if given the opportunity, which we have.
Yeah, and I think what helped with that as well is, and not all men growing up these days, but as a whole, a lot of men have become very soft. And I'm not saying, like, don't get in touch with your feelings, but, like, just from a standpoint of, it's hard for me to describe this without sounding like a shitty person.
Misogynistic.
Yes. Yeah.
Racist, sexist, anti-gay.
Yeah.
Angry platypus, go away. That's
Yeah.
their fucking method, is let's make a rhyme and just keep repeating it.
I mean, you did pretty good there, so I don't know if you've been practicing, but but yeah, like, and that just helped fuel that side, and it's just, if they actually knew what communism, because none of them have actually looked into it, they just go off whatever their teacher or whatever the talking head on the TV box says, you know. And
okay, there's another example. School. Let's look at colleges. What is the enrollment rate of men versus women in higher education right now? Oh, it turns out that women are outpacing men at the highest rate in the history of the world as far as higher education has ever been considered. And I think a lot of it is these young kids, young boys coming up, look at the education system and say, that's not for me. Why? Because it's literally not for you. Like, literally, it's like, literally, you're a white male, guess what? It's not for you. They don't want you there. They don't want you to share that power with them unless, and only unless, you completely capitulate and parrot every talking point and thing that they have to say like a fucking mindless automaton. You're just a fucking Borg drone. That's all you are. Like, that's what they want you to be, or not involved at all. And so a lot of dudes are just like, you know what? I'll go learn how to weld. It's fine. Like, I'll learn how to do plumbing. I'll learn electricity. I'll go do construction. I'll do whatever. It doesn't matter. It's fine. And I get it, dude. I get it, because not only are you saving yourself from hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt potentially that you're going into to get this worthless fucking degree, which at the end of you're not going to have a good job, or you're avoiding the indoctrination of the state fucking that's going to put you in a position where you're just a mouthpiece to continue the power that shouldn't be. Daniel dropped in $10, thank you, and said, Marxists know there's really only two classes, politicians and people, on their payroll and everyone else. So they seek to divide us up more so we can't see the forest from the trees. They want us infighting. And that's what I was talking about earlier, especially with like how many people they're letting into the country right now from everywhere in the world, and everywhere like doesn't speak the same language, and you like work at a place in a major city and you can't fucking understand the language that half the people that are sitting at your tables are even speaking these days. And I'm not even joking. That's where we're at. And when the lights go out and the fucking shelves go empty and the things get bad, who's going to band together? Nobody. We're going to be fighting each other. That's exactly how it's going to go down. And that's exactly how they want it, because if things go bad, people are going to be looking for someone to blame. And that's the time where politician class gets fucking strung up by their ball sack. You know what I mean? Sorry, I'm talkative tonight, apparently. Jose Morga says, millennials and Gen Z, you can't even hunt, camp, dude, woodwork, mechanic. They can't even survive if a disaster happened. They need Wi-Fi. I mean, honestly, dude, I would put myself mostly in that camp. I'm not an experienced hunter. I could probably figure it out. I have the tools to do it. I've got guns and shit. I can camp, make a fire, all that stuff. I can do some woodwork, but if my car breaks hard enough, I'm not fixing it. And if a disaster happens, I'm still going to want my Wi-Fi.
I mean, no matter what, I'm going to want my Wi-Fi, but I can camp. I can do, modern cars. No, because you need a lot of scan tools and electronic tools and shit like that. But like, your older vehicles, if most things break, I can replace them. Hunt, I mean, I haven't been hunting since I was like 8 or 9, but again, like, I can do the basics. Fishing, I'm much better at because I've done that more recently. I can do woodworking to a point. Like, I'm not I'm not sitting there making an elaborate, fucking chair or something like that. But if it came to the point of, oh, I need to put a shelter together, like some bushcraft shit, I could do that. But yeah, I agree. Like, a lot of your people nowadays, they've never experienced the outdoors. They were never forced, like, they never went out and played in the woods as kids and shit like that and built forts and stuff. Like, and that's just society. I mean, society kind of went away from that and it went to video games and tablets and everything. So that's how they were. Like, I can't necessarily fault them for that, but yeah, I agree.
Okay, so super chats. Jesus Christ.
Sorry.
That was a lot of talking, and you didn't really say very much right there.
Fuck off. It's like a minute and a half of talking. There can't have been that many super chats came in a minute and a half.
Well, there was 2 that I missed because I was talking. Daniel says, problem with that is it's rigged and they will still win. Yeah, even if we say re-elect no one and vote for the other guy in every single state everywhere as much as possible, I think they've proven that.
I don't know what you're talking. Elections aren't rigged. Every election that's ever happened has been completely fair and justified.
Well, it's funny how after a certain orange-haired orangutan-looking man won an election a couple of years back, they spent 4 years screaming that at the top of their lungs while crying that no one would listen to them and how unfair everything was. And then the moment that a slightly older silver-haired looking dude won, it's now you can't say anything about that at all, otherwise it's sedition.
Yep.
So that's kind of a change that no one really wants to talk about on the other side that literally just happened in front of our fucking eyes that literally they don't fucking even acknowledge. But whatever. Cognitive dissonance is a thing. And F&G Starman says, we need to escape the political paradigm completely. Maybe we should just all become like fucking, what are the dudes who don't have technology and like help each other build sheds and shit? Amish?
There's like Amish, there's Mennonites, I think they're all like a derivative of something.
Yeah, the government leaves them the fuck alone though, pretty much, don't they?
Yeah, well, yeah.
So we just need to start some shit like that where it's like, all right, leave us the fuck alone. I don't know, maybe Utah's the answer. We'll all just become like faux Mormon.
Mormon light.
We're reformist Mormon. We're re-Mormon. Daniel says, check out Molyneux, the story of our enslavement. I've been watching Molyneux for like 10 years now. In case you can't tell by some of the things that I talk about, I've been watching Molyneux for a long time. Like Molyneux and Peterson, Jordan Peterson. Those are the 2 dudes that I listen to the most. I throw in a little Alex Jones because it's amazing how often he's like a week to a month ahead of whatever the actual story is that everyone's talking about. Like, if you want to get ahead of shit, watch some Alex Jones. And take it for a grain of salt, because everything that he says isn't true, but guaranteed some of the things that he's talking about are things that are stories that are coming up, or things that are going to happen, or haven't come out in the media yet, or will come out in the media, or whatever. Amish get religious exemption. Matt needs to do it. Dude, let's get Matt on that shit. Can we be a pseudo-Christian religion so it's not like straight blasphemy? I don't know if that's if everyone's okay with that, but
I don't know how it works.
That would be my preference.
I'm not too worried about the blasphemy part. I mean, I tell people night strikes are God, so.
Daniel says, check out that specific video. It's one of his best. I've seen it. I agree, and everyone else should check out that video. And you won't find it on YouTube anymore. You have to go to like BitChute or I don't even know if he's on DLive. I think that video is on BitChute though. If you go to BitChute and search "Story of Our Enslavement," you can still see it. Speaking of our enslavement,
what's up, fuckers?
Where the fuck have you been, you fuck ass?
There he is.
I've been like hanging out with my wife this weekend and doing shit that did not involve being on the internet.
Yeah, how was that?
I took a break. I didn't even come into my office except for twice this weekend. Once to go do a work thing for about 10 minutes, and then once to just come in here and get some shit out of my office. I was like, I'm staying away from the internet this weekend.
It's probably nice and freeing.
It actually was. So we just, well, I rewatched, but she watched for the first time the last 3 seasons of Lucifer. So we've basically been doing that since Friday night.
Nice.
And we caught up and watched the whole thing.
We've been talking about how we need to get this religion thing that we've been talking about finalized, Matt. We need to get we need to get the ball rolling at least. Is what we need.
It costs money. So it's...
Well, what is it? You got to pay for a lawyer or something, or
no? There's services that do it. There's services that you pay, and they help you do all the shit.
Set everything
they go
up.
through
Yeah.
They go by state, so they know what to do if you're in this state versus that state, and help you with the 501c3, and they walk you through all the shit. So
I'm glad that you're doing it because I feel like that's a good way to get audited or something. Like, oh, you started a 501c3, huh, Mr. Ammo?
Oh, don't worry. We're all going to get audited soon.
Yeah, well, when I talked to the girl...
What do you mean by that?
Because anyone that's part of it would be... Because the hardest part about a 501c3, at least, this is what an accountant told me, was when it comes to tax time. So...
Can we make a trust for our fucking religion in which we put like suppressors and machine guns into? And if you're part of the religion, you can like check out a machine gun because you're on the trust. If
we start throwing that on top of it while also being based in Texas, there's definitely people with alphabet letters showing up at the door.
Can we make our compound in this really pretty city in Texas I heard of called Waco?
It's right near the Dr. Pepper plant.
It's amazing. I actually want to go there. So if you guys don't know, you can go to Waco, Texas, to the Branch Davidian compound and walk around the compound and see the different buildings, and like they just let anyone do it. Anyone who wants to come by. They ask for a donation of $10, but it's not mandatory. So you can go there for free if you don't have any money. But I'd give them $10, man. Like, that's what happened is fucked up. Deserves $10.
Yeah, that's the least you can do.
Well, what I mean when I talk about getting audited, just to cover that, I've heard, and I have not read it yet, but I heard, unbeknownst to most people, that that American Rescue Plan went through back in March.
Yes.
That it will now. It allows come January 1st, 2022, for the IRS to
track your bank transactions and make sure that you're not making more money than you're spending and having income into your bank and stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah, and the way that it used to work is they would only track large transactions. So if you had like a $10,000 deposit, that would flag your account, and they would be like, well, where did Mr. Honda get this $10,000 from? And if there was no obvious explanation, you're probably going to get audited. Versus now, under the new regulations, like let's say you work as a waiter and you claim 90% of what you make, and you put it all in the bank every week, and you use your card to spend on everything, and you don't pay for anything in cash, well, now the IRS is going to be able to track you. But guess what's coming next, though, I believe. I don't have any proof of this, but they're going to be like, well, we just need to get rid of cash because it's too much of a pain in the butt, and it's spreading COVID, and like we're having to print it. It's costing us money to have it when we could just do it electronically. We just need to do it electronically. And then they really got you by the nuts.
Yep.
Then it's like what Aaron Russo was talking about, where they put a chip in everybody and they get rid of cash. And then if you go against what they say, they just turn off your chip and you can't spend anything. It's the mark of the beast, bro. Like, we're heading into that shit now. This is phase 1. Or this isn't even phase 1, but this is like a step along the way. Church name, Way of the Gun. The Way of the Gun. It's too bad we can't call it like the religion of Mandalore or something like that. Or legally armed Amish. I like that. Except for then we gotta like not use technology.
No, there's branches off of Amish that can use technology. I forget what they're called, but they're branches of Amish that can use technology, and there's Amish that have firearms and shit too.
Yeah. So what else has been going on, Matt? You walked away, didn't you? That's why you're really quiet now. If you like,
100% he did.
if you like penis, don't say anything. That's what I thought. Corey Long says Texas needs to secede before that happens. Before what happens? Matt admits his gayness. Jose Morga says they have to get rid of the coins first. I mean, they've been talking about getting rid of pennies for a while, haven't they? Because like pennies cost 10 cents to make per penny. And like more and more stores are getting to the point where they don't like try going to Walmart and spending cash. It's a pain in the ass. You can do it, but you have to go to one of the regular aisles. You can't go to the self-checkout aisle, and there's always a line, and the lady's always like, when you hand her cash, you know. Oh. Just kicked Matt out for some reason.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I had to get back in.
Daniel says, you see Biden wants the Fed to mint 1 billion notes to deposit immediately into the Fed to bypass Congress not passing his spending bills. I did not see that. What's that about?
No idea.
I mean, it seemed, what are they, like QE 15 now or something like that? QE Infinity? They just keep raising the fucking debt ceiling higher and higher and higher and saying everything's great.
Yeah, pretty much.
I think at a point, though, like, so we as a country, I believe, have an international credit rating per se, not exactly, but with other countries who would potentially loan money to us in the hopes that we would pay it back with interest, right? Because that's why you would loan money to somebody, is because you want to make money back. You wouldn't just give them money out of the kindness of your heart. You want to loan it to them so that you can make interest back and have more money than you loaned. Well, other countries are looking at loaning us dollars and seeing how much we're printing and seeing that, like, even if they pay us back with interest, by the time they pay us back, it's going to be worth less than the amount of money that we loaned them in the first place. Therefore, it's not really worth it. On top of that, we're not even sure that they're going to pay us back. So we're not going to loan to them anymore. Then our credit rating gets marked down. And then people will still loan to the United States of America, but at a higher interest rate, which means every penny that we borrow from then on, not to mention the debt that we have to continually refinance because we don't pay it off, we just kind of hold it, you know. All of that money will be having to be paid back at a higher interest rate, which will bankrupt us overnight. Like, all the money that all of us pay into taxes won't even cover the fucking interest on the debt that we already have, let alone provide a single service from the government. And that's the Venezuela future that we're headed towards, boys and girls. Buy yourself some fucking Bitcoin or something. No, literally notes that are worth 1 trillion each. Oh my lord. Oh my lord. What is the national debt right now, currently?
24, 26 trillion, something like that, right?
Something around there, yeah.
Hey, let's
I
look
know
at
it's around 25 trillion.
28.8 trillion, actually.
Oh, yay.
So here's the national debt clock. I like looking at this on occasion, right? You can kind of just see it ticking up. And then the scary thing is the unfunded liabilities and interest that we owe and things like that. And then you add all that up and it's like fucking $52,000 per family. And then how much do we owe? That's what, like $228,000 per taxpayer. And like, oh my god, dude, it's just nuts. And you just don't even think about it because these numbers are so big that you can't think in trillions. Like, humans don't think in terms of trillion or even billion. A million's hard to fucking conceive. The only reason you can conceive a million is because it's 1,000,000. 1,000 times. F&G Starman says, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Banana Republic. Dude, and you see that too in the court system. Like, for instance, did you know that the Rittenhouse case is being decided next month?
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's actually beginning of November, so a month and a half, month and 10 days it starts. And the local media has been poisoned against him and da-da-da-da-da. Like, that kid is not going to get off pending a miracle. Pending fucking, like, an angel from heaven coming down to the courtroom and, like, I don't know, like, Ghost of Christmas pasting the fucking people on the fucking jury or something, you know?
Yep.
In 1862, President Lincoln issued $450 million directly to the U.S. Treasury. These debt-free interest notes were known as greenbacks. What happened to him? Murdered. On June 4th, 1963, President Kennedy signed Executive Order 11110, issuing $4.3 billion directly from the U.S. Treasury, bypassing the Federal Reserve Bank. These debt-free interest notes would become known as silver certificates. What happened to him? Back to the left. I think you've got a gun, Matt. Don't you have a gun about that? Something?
What?
Your Carcano that you carved, you love Kennedy into?
Oh, yeah. Back and to the left. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's true. Very, very true.
Daniel says, read what I put in the chat. Hold on, let me find it. They discovered a loophole that allows the U.S. to mint a platinum-based coin at any denomination. Okay, so they're now minting a platinum-based coin worth $1 trillion so that they can use it to pay off the Treasury. I don't know anything about this. It's insane. It sounds fucking crazy. But with the way things are going these days, crazy is fucking par for the course. Man. Been a lot of fucking fire and brimstone in this chat lately. It's getting fucking getting a little tiring, to be honest.
Well, it's getting tiring, but you got to face facts. Shit's going down. It's gonna get bad.
Well, the thing is, like, in order to get this level of information to be like, let me talk intelligently for an hour and a half about current events or things going on, you got to spend a lot of time fucking watching the shit and reading about the shit and going on Twitter and looking at the videos and the pictures and the posts, and, you know, it makes it feel like it's everywhere. And then you go outside and there's just like crickets and kids playing with a ball. Like, it's not real life, but it's about to be. It's becoming real life, and it's taking over real life is the problem. And if we get complicit like we've been, we just can't be the boomers, dude. Like, that's the whole thing. That's what I'm trying to slap everybody with that whole boomer statement is, guess what? In a couple of years, not that long, there's going to be some young fucking Honda-like guy who's not me, younger than me, calling us fucking dumbasses for fucking running the ship into the ground or whatever, you know?
Honda 2.0.
If there is to be trouble, let it come in my time, so my children may live in peace. I'm afraid it's going to take too long to pop off, and I'll be too old when it happens. Although, the way things are looking, it might be this fucking winter, huh?
Yeah.
Are you nervous about that, Matt?
Very. Very. So, yep. When you start having meetings at work, doing the things that I do, which, for obvious reasons, I don't sit there and talk about publicly because I can't, talk about the details of the job that I do. But needless to say, I do things. The company I work for deals with most of the major retailers and producers in the country. We deal with most of them. And when they start doing meetings, with fucking SHTF undertones, talking about, you know, how the company's trying to get ready, and talking about supply chain issues, and talking about, you know, intercompany memos with some of the largest corporations that I can't tell you what their names are because, you know, breaks contracts I have with my company and the contracts they have with our clients. I'm telling you, and that's why I've been saying this for the last couple months. If by some miracle we get out of this without having any major economic problems, cool. But if you're not getting ready for shit, if you're not getting ready to, like, the only thing I've ever heard Kamala Harris say that I agreed with was when she accidentally let it slip and said, if you want Christmas presents, you might want to go ahead and buy them now. And if you think, oh, well, that's going to suck if I can't get all the stuff I want because there's supply chain issues. What that also means is when you can't get the shit you want and when there's not shit to sell, what happens to the people that work retail? What happens to the people that work transporting goods? What happens to the people that work building things in this country when there's no way to get the things they need to build the stuff they need to do, or at the same time, there's no way to transport the shit to the end retailer? People that build stuff lose their jobs. People that work in retail lose their jobs. People that work in transportation lose their jobs.
And then the whole fucking motor fucking crashes. The whole thing stalls. And getting it started again isn't as simple as you would think.
No, it's not.
So how long is it going to be stalled for?
I don't know.
If it stalls, how long?
Jesus, who knows? Because then you get into conspiracy theory stuff, right? Then you get into like, oh, well, is it being done on purpose? Because there's obviously people who would love to see our economy and the way things run in this country tweaked a lot, right? And if you know, I mean, look, very common phrase, never let a crisis go to waste, right? Like that's been a progressive, it's a saying for a reason, okay? The progressives have been saying this since the early 20th century, right? Early American progressivism. That was a saying. That was a slogan. Never let a crisis go to waste. It was something that Saul Alinsky used to say. It was something that what's his name? Dude who used to work for Obama and was mayor of Chicago. Why am I blanking on his fucking name? Anyway, he used to say that all the time publicly. You know, but that's conspiracy theory level shit, right? The real world shit is getting bad in the supply chain, in the manufacturing, and in retail right now. I know this for a fact. I've literally had meetings on this with my company. It's going to be bad, and if you're not ready, then at this point it's on you. If you haven't bought extra shit that you need, you know, then that's going to be on you. And if you work in manufacturing, retail, or supply chain, transportation, and you're not seriously considering other options or preparing yourself or saving money or whatever the fuck it is you need to do, then that's also on you at this point because shit is not going to go well.
Dude, are you looking at these pictures, Matt, that I'm sharing?
Yeah. I talked about this the other day on the show.
These are all from today.
Yeah. I think it is now up to 14 or 15,000 people. It started out at 600. And then it was 6,000. Then it was 7,000. Then it was 10,000. Then it was 12,000. And last I heard, it's like 15, 16,000 people that are just gathering here. To the point that Texas sent hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of DPS agents and Texas National Guard to secure that area because fucking Border Patrol's not doing anything. And it's not on them. I know a bunch of Border Patrol agents from living on the border, and they're not bad people or anything, but they can only do what they're told to do, what they're ordered to do. And they're not being told to secure that area.
Just look how many people are under this one. It's like
I know
10,000 people under one bridge. It looks like.
To the point that Texas has had to send their own people out there to secure it.
Are they all Haitians? Is that what this is? A bunch of Haitians?
So here's what happened: is there was 600 people that were there. There was a small caravan of 600 Haitians that had made it up to Mexico and across the border, right? And they had been locked down there by ICE. And they had been there for, I can't remember exactly how long they were there, but they were there for a little while, okay? And they were told that they were going to be flown back to Haiti, right? That's standard procedure when something like this happens, right? When it's not somebody we can just send back south of the border, or you can bus them Haiti to get back there. We got to fly them, right? Well, then, I would say 8 days ago. And at this point, it's been 11 days ago, 12 days ago. When I first did this story, it was 8 days. But so 12 days ago or whatever it was, the Biden administration made an announcement that they would not send these people back. They would not fly them back. So you know what happened?
Oh, more came, of course.
Everybody started picking up their fucking cell phones and calling Haiti and saying they're not going to send us back. And that's what happened. So now Del Rio, Texas is full of 15, 16,000 fucking people that came here from Haiti because of some fucking bullshit that the Biden administration did. Whether it was Biden himself, I doubt it, because he fucking can't even think his way out of a fucking paper bag at this point. Have you seen that video going around the internet where the fucking they're trying to guide him to the White House?
The Secret Service? Yes,
the Secret Service.
I just watched it on your Facebook.
Holy
fucking
shit.
dying.
There's one behind him and there's one in front of him, and the one in front of him is pointing to the way he wants the president to walk, which is along this fucking concrete path to the front door, and he's pointing to him that way. And then he decides to go around the bush in the grass to go to the other side so the president can walk along the path. Well, the president just keeps looking at him and just starts walking into the grass and
follows him
around and just follows him around the bush.
Like, oh god,
that dude is fucking gone in the head, man.
Dude, everyone who voted for Biden, go fuck yourself, dude. Fuck you, seriously.
He is not there, and I mean, it's not his fault. I mean, I feel bad. Honestly, I was watching I can't remember. Maybe I've talked about this before. I don't remember. I was watching something, and there was this doctor on there, and he was talking to another doctor, and they were sitting having a conversation about Biden, talking about how, obviously he's not all there. And it's one of these doctors who's, I can't remember his fucking name. He's got a YouTube channel and a Facebook page. He's real big. He's got millions and millions of subs. He's the bald doctor that always does these videos. Anyway, you'd know him if you saw him, because I know you've seen him before. But anyway, they're sitting there having a conversation. They're like, and the one dude's like, you know what? You know who I blame the most for this? Is Biden's wife. This is elder abuse. She obviously has to know he's not all there. She's probably the one giving him his medicine. She should have never allowed him to run. This is elder abuse. They're like, well, what they're putting him through when he's obviously mentally deteriorating is just insane. Like, and she is the one person who has the most power over him as his wife. She could have stopped this. So,
I found a picture of Biden from the 60s.
What?
Oh wait, that's Johnny Cash.
Johnny Cash. I'm like, what the? That's not Biden.
You may have been high, but you've never been Johnny Cash eating a cake inside of a bush high.
Yeah, no shit. So I saw somebody, I think it was Spectre Parr, was asking me a question in the chat about, like, I forget what it is. What does it say? I gotta scroll up. Do you think I can make it at a major retailer until December when I get my EMT, or is that not an option? I mean, it's 3 months away, so I mean, you might as well stay. The worst case scenario is if shit goes really bad, you get fired, and then you finish getting your EMT, and you go through your EMT training, and then take up a job. So maybe, look, I don't know when or if any of this shit's going to just fucking collapse, right? But I do know that at large retailers and manufacturers and people who run these companies that are in charge of the supply chain, the trucking companies, okay, the people who work in the retail, your fucking Walmarts and your grocery stores and your Targets and all these places. These places are actively having, are actively concerned to the point they're having industry-wide meetings in ways, and I've been doing this for a long time, that they've never done before. They didn't even do it back in 2008, okay? This type of stuff wasn't being talked about. The fact that we've, and a lot of it's, it's COVID. It's 100 different fucking things all going on at once. But a lot of it stemming from the idea that, like, for one, nobody wants to fucking work right now. Now, for whatever reason that is, figure it out by yourself. It doesn't even matter. But there's nobody to work. People don't want to work. Every company in the fucking world is hiring right now for millions of fucking jobs all over the country, and nobody's taking these fucking jobs. Now, make of that what you will.
Dude, that's weird. Okay, so like I thought it was because they were giving people money, right? Like they're giving everybody money for unemployment, and because you're getting money for unemployment, Now you're not. Now you're probably going to want to find a job right quick. But then I was thinking, like, okay, when my company called me back, like January 1st of this year, right? Like 9.5 months ago. I was like, yay, I have a job again. But I was like, fuck, I have a job again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Joe Morga says, the start of the zombie outbreak begin. He didn't say begin, but I think it's about right now.
Yeah.
You ever think that the zombie outbreak was always a metaphor for like hordes of homeless people or sick people or something like that roaming around trying to like ransack houses for what they can get?
Yeah.
And that like you mowing down a bunch of fucking zombies wasn't actually mowing down zombies?
Yeah. Leonardo Vu in the chat says, no one wants to work for a poverty wage. They want a living wage. Well, yeah, if they've got the skills, they should demand a living wage. If they've got skills that fucking pay the bills, as it used to be said, you know, and you're not just some dude who used to fucking bag groceries or something, you know what I mean? Like, then you absolutely should. Because look what happens when people hold out for more money. Did you see what Amazon did last week? They decided bottom pay, period, for any fucking job working for Amazon, $18 an hour. Starting pay for some jobs up to $22.50 an hour. Why? Because nobody wanted to fucking work for them. You know what I mean? So they fucking made a change. They're like, look, we are one of the largest, if not the largest fucking company in the world. We got to do something. And they fucking upped their pay. And now people are going to do them. So if you've got good skills, man, and you know, I mean, why not? Like I've said before, like, that's how you change shit. That's how you fucking force companies to your will. You know, we have a voluntary fucking job market here. So fucking, you know, yeah, hold out for a better job. If everybody held out for a better job, then companies would pay more money. You know?
Do you think all of these people coming into the country are going to fill some of these jobs, or are they like
absolutely.
too high skill job for them who can't even speak the language or whatever? You know?
Absolutely. There's a lot of jobs, dude. There's stuff that I'm currently hiring for that there are people that are coming into the country that could absolutely do it. Now, that being said, my company would never hire them because my company has, you know, deals with too much shit and background checks and stuff. So you'd have to be a legal citizen to work. But absolutely, could they do it? Yeah, they absolutely could do the fucking job. So you find jobs where people are willing to, or, you know, whatever, don't do background checks, or maybe they got good fucking fake papers. I don't fucking know. But these people will absolutely come in and take some of those jobs.
How many illegal immigrants are in the United States right now?
Last I heard, the estimates were somewhere around, it's like 22 million or something like that.
Hold on, I'm looking it up.
And that may be estimated. The lowest number I've heard is 11 million, and I think I've heard roughly 22 million potentially.
So this is from August 20th, 2020. Says more than 40 million.
Well, yeah, that says we're born in another country. That doesn't mean they're here illegally.
Oh, okay. I didn't read the whole thing. Thank you.
It's like somewhere between 10 and 20 million. It's somewhere in there. I don't know what the exact number is. And they obviously don't even know what the exact number is.
But wasn't it like 10 million in 2000?
Oh, I don't know, honestly.
And it's been like a million a year since then?
I don't know.
And then this last year, it's been like a million a month, I feel like. People are tired of the struggle with no skills. I mean, I don't know. I would advocate almost for no minimum wage at all.
Well, here's the thing about minimum wage, right? Like, so I see exactly what you're saying. If there's no minimum wage and then the market's a little more free, and, you know, I obviously.
But then you'd also have to have things like control over your border and people coming into the country and flooding your market with like fucking cheap labor that basically screws the bottom rung of society in your country.
Yeah, which is why,
exactly what happens when this happens.
Which is why, by the way, Democrats used to actually want a secure border because they were in bed with all the unions who wanted to make sure that their employees got paid money, and then somehow that just fucking went away. Yeah, no, I'd be down with that. The problem is if we're going to have a minimum wage, then minimum wage should go up as inflation does, and it hasn't been. And that's a problem, because if you're going to, as as a country, say, okay, well, there's got to be a minimum amount you pay somebody. Okay, I don't agree with that, but okay, then it's law. Let's just deal with it. It should go up with inflation. And you look, it's what is it? Is it still $7.25?
I don't even know.
It's still under $8 an hour, and it's been there since what, the late 90s? So whatever the federal, I know some states have different minimum wages, but the federal minimum wage is $7.25 an hour.
Jesus.
And it's been that way since the late 90s. Now, how much has inflation gone up since the late 90s? You know what I mean? So
$7.25 an hour?
Yeah.
Wow.
So there's a problem. If you're going to mandate that a wage has to be a certain, that there has to be a minimum, then that minimum needs to grow as inflation grows. Because otherwise, then you have corporations that take advantage of it. Now, that being said, as I've said before, if people would just stop taking those fucking jobs, then corporations couldn't take advantage for it. They'd have to fucking start raising their wages to make up for that shit because they wouldn't find anybody to take those jobs.
So that's the federal minimum, but then states have their own different versions of it. So federal minimum wage for tipped employees is $2.13 an hour.
Yeah.
And federal minimum wage for non-tipped employees is $7.25.
Yeah. Well, I think at least half the country just goes by whatever the federal minimum wage is. Like half the states in the country are still $7.25.
Dude, I made $2.13 an hour for a really long time. I'll tell you that. And when you get your 2-week paycheck with 80 hours on it, and it has $5 after taxes because you have to pay taxes on all the money that you made as tips, it's like, well, I don't even make a fucking wage. I just work here for tips. And that's how it always was. But now we make $9.15 an hour in Colorado. Or wait, where is it? Colorado. $9.30. Sorry. So I make more per hour minimum wage in Colorado plus tips than people in other states make minimum wage without tips. That's insane. They shut down the world. People adopted to surviving on reduced capacity. Many contracted to single income families. If it works, why go back to all this stress? Dude, I mean, I see that, but I think that's a short-term, like, yay, everything's cool for now, keep partying, because we're humans and we're party animals, and as long as there's another beer in the fridge, everything's good, kind of thing. But tough times are coming, and if you have the ability to have 2 incomes and work hard and get ahead a little bit right now, versus just subsiding and getting by, I think that the plan should be work as hard as you can now and get as much shit and stuff that you need or want or could use in the future bought and in your hands and in your freezer and in your gun safe and on your fucking ammo shelf, you know?
That's true, but unfortunately most people don't think like that. You got to understand the quote unquote prepper mindset, which, you know, honestly just used to be how people were because you had to prepare to survive every year when the winter came, you know, that was just life. That's been beaten out of us.
Yeah.
And to an extent, I think there's an aspect of that was intentional. There's an aspect of that was, well, you know, if we keep people unable to self-sustain, then when things go bad, they rely on the government.
Dude, I was thinking about this. Like, why is everyone so complacent with what's going on with the federal government's overreaching of their fucking powers right now? Fluoride in the water. That could be not the answer, but at least maybe part of the answer as to why people are so complicit. Do you know what? Do you know who were the first group of people to be fluorinated, their drinking water?
The Jews.
The Jews in concentration camps, because they didn't want them fighting it back against the fucking prison guards when they marched them off to the gas chambers. Because if you put fluoride in drinking water, it makes you more docile and complacent, right? And they've been fluorinating our water in this country for a really long time now. And the science is in on what it does, right? And their claim originally as to why they're putting fluoride in the water was that they want people's teeth to be stronger and there'll be less cavities if we put fluoride, if we just put it in the water. Well, the thing is, it works on your teeth if you use it topically on your teeth. It doesn't work on your teeth if you ingest it. And in fact, if you ingest too much fluoride, it will fuck your teeth up from the inside. But it also does things in your brain because fluoride itself is a reactive substance. It's a fucking element. And Like it will react with, it replaces hydrogen and compounds, right? So whatever hydrogen is in a cell, it will replace that hydrogen in your cell with a fucking fluoride instead of a hydrogen. Well, it does that all over your body, and it fucking messes your brain up, and it stops synapses from firing correctly, and does all kinds of shit to dumb people down. It's been shown to fucking reduce IQ by like 5 points if you've been fed it a steady diet of fucking fluoride from the time you were a child. Like, I think previous generations of humans were smarter than the generations, at least in America today. I don't know, dude. Like, think about like the Wright brothers and shit, you know? Anyway. Well, it's been about an hour and a half, which is how long we normally go for the Gay Frog Chat. So I think we're going to go ahead and wind it down now, if y'all don't mind. Do have a few things to attend to here. Don't know why I turned Southern on you, but I do appreciate y'all showing up.
I do declare.
Hey, but anyway, I hope you guys are all having a good night. Hopefully the doom and gloom didn't bring you down too much, and tomorrow we can talk about some more fun things on the Guns and Geeks. Well, it's not the Guns and Geeks podcast anymore. It's the Free For All chat.
Free for all chat. Well, it's the Guns and Geeks free for all chat.
It's all of the things.
It's all of the things.
Anyway, I hope you guys have a good night. We'll see you then. Peace out. Deuces, y'all. Shut up, Ian Fridge, and Hank Strange is in fact a penis.